Maltco said digital currency is the future. Are you ready for your future?
未来洗联储还 HDO 洗币会别人抢着来成为国家流通的货币，接下来被国家认可、主权认可、主权流通，甚至大的这沼泽地控制的金融集团流通，这是一定会发生的。
Good morning and greetings from Himalaya, Australia. My name is BindBindi. And my co-host is Jessie. Welcome to another episode of Crypto News Talk. And today's session, we are focused all on crypto regulation. Let's have a look at what Gary Gensler, the chair of US Securities and Exchange Commission, got to say about the need for crypto regulation.
Fraud, manipulation, front-running, and the like. They're not perfect, but they've stood the test of time. What does that have to do with crypto trading and lending platforms? Well, these platforms, the crypto platforms, like stock markets, bring together buyers and sellers. Crypto platforms have millions, sometimes tens of millions of retail customers directly buying and selling on the platform without going through a broker. With so many retail customers trading on crypto platforms, we should make sure that those platforms offer similar protections. So I've asked our staff to work directly with the platforms to get them registered and regulated to ensure that those crypto tokens come in as well and register where appropriate as securities. What's more, you are literally handing over the keys to your car, or crypto. Just imagine this. Imagine handing over all of your stock to the New York Stock Exchange. That would never fly. Thus, I've asked staff how to work with platforms to best ensure your assets are protected. And unlike traditional security exchanges, crypto trading platforms also may act as market makers. It means that when you sell your tokens, one of the platforms may actually be buying on the other side. Stock exchanges don't do this. They don't serve as their own market makers because that creates inherent conflicts of interest. Thus, again, I've asked staff to consider whether it would be appropriate to segregate out the market-making functions on these crypto platforms. Look, there's no reason to treat the crypto market differently just because a different technology is used. That would be like saying drivers of electric cars don't need seatbelts because they don't use gas. We ought to apply these same protections in the crypto markets. Let's not risk undermining 90 years of securities law. We should be technology neutral when it comes to investor protection. What are crypto?
Now, we do have to congratulate Monsieur Gensler. You know, I think it's a great branding video, a stamp of authority and full of the sense of power. Now, the SEC oversees approximately $115 trillion in securities trading on the equity market. That's the US equity market, by the way. Now, in classifying crypto as securities, what the SEC account Mr. Gensler wants to protect, right? They want to protect like retail investors like yourself and myself. They want to protect main streeters who in a year invest invest about 38 trillion worth of equities, all right, in the US market. They want to protect us from fraud and from manipulation. Now, one of the way for an enterprise to access the capital market is via what we know as IPO, right? Initial public offering. And for mere mortals like us, retail investors, we get to purchase these stocks and shares of the companies via platforms like the stock exchange or security exchanges. Now, the crypto platforms operate somewhat like the security exchanges, meaning we trade or we buy and sell on all these crypto platforms. Now, but without going through a broker. Hence, the classification of probably why they classify cryptos as a security. Bindi, what's your thoughts on the brokers deal in orders?
First of all, I think that Gensler's video was actually very convincing. I was convinced. I want regulation. Now, the difference between crypto and conventional stock is that, they have an exchange, right? You have SEC, you have various exchanges, stock exchanges, whereas in the crypto world, it is different platform. And you can see even different platform, the prices are different. So a broker is, in a conventional sense, is an individual or firm acting as intermediary between investors and security exchange. Now, that broker role does not exist in the crypto platform. The platform, you can think of it as the broker itself, because they are the one facilitating the transaction between the buyer and the seller. So to make it worse, the crypto platform also is the one collecting all your cash, holding all your cash, as well as even holding your asset after you have purchased it from the seller. So the crypto platform itself is playing a lot of roles, and if not regulated, yes, I can see that investors get into hell, because there are actually a lot of investors in the recent meltdown who have lost everything. We have seen it in the report of Australians, especially. I don't know whether Australians especially, maybe it's worldwide. I have a friend in Sydney who has lost a lot of money on Celsius. Crypto exchange is a platform for buying and selling, and also for storage. And if you don't regulate it, where does the investors are left with? Nothing. There's nothing at all. There's no insurance, nothing. So all they have to do is hold on to the pillow and cry, right? What else can I do?
Yeah, I like your point. I like your point, where you differentiate between speculative and investing, actually, the different class assets, actually. I don't think we have moved cryptos towards the safe haven assets yet. But yep, if we can differentiate between speculative and investing, remember, if you're investing, stick with us. If you're speculating, maybe you want to stick with us and change your view, because out of 100% of ICO, remember the initial coin offering where it was all the rage, all right, 80% was scams, 5% failed.
Yeah, but at the same time, in the crypto world, we have seen so many different cryptos being held by very small number of people, which means it's also open to fraud as well as scams, as well as manipulation. So a lot of crypto investors do not know. They just hear from the next person or hear from some commentators, this is a good crypto to go into, this is a good crypto, and they put the money in there. I actually have somebody whom I know who put a lot of money into one crypto. So, and they want to sell a house to put all the money they have into that one crypto. So you talk, even if manipulate investors and speculators, we get that in the conventional stock market as well. So I don't think it is worth differentiating whoever who put the money in, whether the person is investor or speculators, because these are all financial decisions that they make for themselves. But it is, as far as the government is concerned, it is about how they can regulate the whole thing. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Jesse, over to you.
Sure, right. Yeah. Now, just a backstop on brokerage, how big brokerage are as a business, because there's two sides of school of thoughts on this, right? So in 2021, the largest stock brokerage firm in the US is Fidelity, which all of us know. It's worth about AUM, which is asset under management. They have about 10.4 trillion US dollars AUM. That's huge. All right, that's a big piece of cheese there. And the online stock brokerage industry is worth about 13.8 billion. Securities brokerage industry is worth $151 billion in 2022. So you can see why the push for certain regulations. And away we go. Producer, can you put up the next PPT, please? So, yep. All right. So we have the standard. The standard is about to hand BTC and ETH, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum, oversight to the CFTC, the Commodities Trading Futures Trading Commission. Now, classing BTC and ETH as commodities, which is really interesting. So there's a lot of backstories to this. There's a lot of rumors swirling around. You know, why the differentiation between securities and commodities. I suppose, well, you know, time will come where mere mortals like us will get to know the somewhat true story. Now, what it does is it requires, sorry, next slide, please. Yep. Yeah, so what it does is it requires all brokerages, all brokers, custodians, and the exchanges to register with the CFTC. And the hope is to create a framework, right, to issue clarity around the crypto market, because now is everyone write their own paper, white paper, and then it's up to anyone who will invest or to buy to read the white paper. So the bill seems to have segregated other crypto product that functions like securities under the purview of SEC, and then we have the FCTC. Whether more cryptocurrencies will be under the CFTC, we do not know. But what we do know is that it doesn't cover the entire crypto market. There is, however, a point to note. There's currently no definition on crypto securities as yet. What exactly classifies as crypto as a security? So I suppose they are writing up the rules now, you know, and SEC will come up with a clearer definition on the horizon. And what the senators want is, this is interesting, what the senators want is they want, next slide, please. So what the Senate really want, all right, they want to move this, as soon as possible, you know, get on their skaters. They want to pass this as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. Now, Bindi, please shine your spotlight for us on this.
Gary Gensler, before he came into SEC, he was also in CFTC. So he is, I think whatever he is saying is no more than a showing of power, a battleground between overseeing and regulating crypto between SEC and CFTC. As far as I'm concerned, as an investor or speculator, however you want to look at it, if we were to want a regulation, it doesn't matter whether it comes from SEC or CFTC. It is a question of which will actually serve the investors better. Not all crypto investors look at this in the best of its light, because they think that, oh, the whole reason why we are in crypto is because we don't want to be regulated. We don't want central banks. We don't want to have anything to do with it. We don't want a currency where the government tells us what to do. So not everybody is happy. But normal people, we'll say, we consider ourselves as normal. We want to have good and clear regulation. A clear and good regulation will tell us where to go to when something go pear-shaped. Now, we know that the Senate wants to hand Ether as well as Bitcoin to CFTC and consider them as commodity, while also maybe the other companies with time changed. Maybe it will be a share of pies between the SEC and CFTC. One will regulate the platform, another one will regulate the crypto in itself, because not all crypto is issued by in the same way as Bitcoin does. Some are actually raised by private companies. When they want to raise funds, they raise it in crypto forms rather than by issuing their own tokens, and hence, whether it's SEC, CFTC, to me, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. We all know the trend is crypto will be regulated. And we just have to watch and see what the US Senate is going to do for us, because we know that whatever US does, everybody else will just fall into place. Over to you.
Yep, you're right, actually. And it just, like you say, the battle is between cash and value. And now we know we have M0, M1, M2, M3. And then we have, in time to come, digital currencies, which is going to wipe out some of them, somewhat, and what would hold that thought, because Mr. Mousegor in the next segment, we're going to come back to what Mr. Mousegor is saying, has to say about that. Now, Bindi, over to what is happening to Binance, our favorite boy.
Yeah, Binance and WazirX. Okay, shall we show the next PPT, please, Director? I have to clear my throats. So India has freeze assets of Binance-linked WazirX. Is there anything new? Nothing new. WazirX in the first place is, I think it's a bit dodgy, because the whole reason why they tie up with Binance was because they want to bypass the Indian regulation, and India wanted to regulate them by saying, no rupees to be channeled to crypto platform. In their bid to overcome that restriction, they've used USDT and also tied themselves up with Binance. Now, India's financial crime fighting agency. Let's have a next slide, please. In India, Financial Fighting Agency said it has frozen the assets of WazirX, linked to the world's largest digital currency exchange, Binance, as part of its investigation into the suspected violation of foreign exchange regulations. The agency said its action was related to suspected role in assisting instant loan app companies in money laundering by converting them into cryptocurrencies on its platform. So let's have a look at the next page. The searches were conducted on one of the directors of Zenmai Lab, which owns WazirX. The agency found that large amounts of funds were diverted by fintech companies to purchase crypto assets and then launder them abroad. The maximum amount of funds were diverted to WazirX exchange, and crypto assets have been diverted to unknown foreign wallets. A lot of these fintech companies dealing in illegal lending practices were backed by Chinese funds. Is that new? No? Yes? Does that sound familiar? Very. And now, of course, we have the next dodgy character, Binance CEO, Zhao Changpeng. He tweeted on Friday that the company does not own shares in Zenmai Labs, which owns WazirX, and Binance only provide wallet services to WazirX as a tax solution. And they do more than that, actually. More than just wallet services, there are a few other things that people have written about. It's out in the open. It's nothing new. But of course, the fullest extent of which we will have to watch the court case, and then we'll know what has happened. In 2021, during the course of investigating the money laundering online gambling app ED, found that Chinese-owned app had converted a total of 570 million rupees of criminal proceeds into cryptocurrency through Binance platform. Now, Binance announced that they had acquired WazirX in 2019, but 2022 to turn around to deny that the company owned any stake in WazirX. And Zhao Changpeng's tweet actually said that they would shut down WazirX if they wanted to. So doesn't it say something? On one hand, you say you don't own it. On the other hand, you said they have the ability to shut it down. Other than the fact that you have you run the wallet services, it must be some other type of arrangement that gave Binance a lot of control over whether WazirX continues to survive as a platform or not. So Bloomberg reported that SEC is investigating if BNB token constitute an unregistered security. As we know, Binance is not registered anywhere. They don't even have an office, a physical office. And we know that Binance is getting into a lot of trouble because the Americans, the SEC and other authorities have their eyes on Binance for a number of years already. And just because they have Zhao Changpeng has not been extradited to the US does not mean that they are in any way safe. And Miles Square said long ago, even a year ago, that Binance will surely be wiped out and Zhao Changpeng will be brought to justice. And lo and behold, guess who is going to cop the flake of it all? Other than, of course, the 4,000 employees who have to clean up the mess that Zhao Changpeng has left. Of course, we have all the investors who have account holders with Binance. We already know that some of us in our whistleblower movement have accounts with Binance and have not been able to withdraw their funds from Binance. And I just want to hand over the time to Jesse to say a little bit about what he thinks of Binance and WazirX.
Yeah, all right. So just to put things in perspective, it is what 570 million rupees or 860 million rupees actually. Now that is what 8 million. Now in the whole scheme of things, 8 million is not a lot. It's like a slap on the wrist. But I'll put that in the context for us now. All right. Binance revenue in 2020 was about 5.5 billion. And it rose to 20 billion within 1 year. To 20 billion within 1 year. That's 4 times. All right. Whatever he's doing it right or wrong. Now, but what's interesting also is in a 24-hour $1 billion was so-called traded on the platform. All right. And he says, and this is his word, on a slow day, we will do probably about 40 billion, not rupees, by the way, guys, it's US dollars here. 40 billion US dollars in a single day. Now, 170, $40 billion. That's the total trading. 170 is total trading volume of the 4 next biggest exchange add together. 170 billion. Where's the money coming from? There must be some stories you are missing that people are not reporting, and the product offering. Now, interesting product offering of Binance that's listed, because it's in the Cayman Islands. It says it includes leverage trading, and we know what Mr. Mousecore told us about leverage trading. Remember what happened to the Terra and the Lunas and whatever? Leverage trading, all right? And there are tokens linked to equity. So now, because of the tokens linked to equity, all right, it begins to impact the main traders, which is why SEC is going like, oh, hang on, this is not looking right. Yep. So then the other thing, now CZEC, that's what's his name, his handle is CZEC. Zhao Changpeng said, they have stepped up documentation verifications. He said that in 2021. All right, so he should know, all right, if there's suspected money laundering and if, a lot of the fintechs dealing in illegal lending practices backed by Chinese fund, he should have known. He would have known who they are. It's not difficult to dope them in if they are nefarious activities unless one is involved also. Back to you, BindBindi.
What is strange for me is that Binance, with all its infamous news on the public domain, they still managed to get into the Australian market. I don't know what the Australians are doing. And Hobby as well. What's happening? Strange. So, okay, with the remaining time, let's go on to the next thing. Let's have a look at Miles Square's video. Miles Square's
数字货币与不可挡，只有监管，只有让它放开水让它来。然后美国要制定虚拟货币的整个规则，那就是允许它合法化。
美国、欧洲最大的探讨就是如何把虚拟货币合法化，加大监管，挡不住了嘛，是吧？
所以说，兄弟姐妹们，这就是这个时代，最终美国一定会承认，虚拟货币和它的法币美元和其他国的法币共同存在，加强监管。那么去中心化的币和不去中心化的体制的币的体制，它才是安全的，才能接受监管，它才能不被定为非法这个货币，它才是长久的，这就是伟大之处啊！
没人买国家货币，谁买你国家主权货币？它必须是市场化。这就像美元， 一个美国的国家主权的货币，竟然是美联储的私人机构印发货币来拥有的啊！这为啥大家买美元？它安全，它可继承啊，它受这4大条件的保护啊，人权的社会啊，就是契约的精神，英国的这个大陆法，还有一个就是用宗教和信仰，再一个它有一个社会的监管性啊，遵循的规则。最重要的。
See, I want to ask you, with Mount Score, tell us.
All right, so I'll bring you back. I'll bring us back to Columbus and to Columbus times actually, where they wait. They know the trade wind. You know the trade wind, and you wait for the trade wind to come to bring you to the South Americas, and then back again, across Atlantic back to continental Europe. So what he has pointed out, and is very loaded actually, in my opinion. He has a system and a framework, and I really like what he said, because I missed this so many times, and I watched this again and I go, oh, hang on, how did I miss that? He actually said, all right, it's prescience. He actually said it's good to have a decentralized digital currency that sits within a centralized framework and a centralized system. I missed it. When you talk about crypto, most of us will go, yeah, decentralized. He's saying that, yes, it is decentralized, all right, but it must sit within a centralized system. That's why we have this very strict KYC. My KYC took 3 weeks, bloody hell. 3 weeks, and I missed buying at a low price. So I remember this really, really well. So it is akin to the boat, all right, during those times where before the steam engines, where the mast is ready, the boat is ready, and they just wait for the trade wind. He's awaiting regulation. So he has already the foresight to understand that regulation must surely come, all right, that fiat and digital currency will coexist for a time before the transitions to pure digital currency, perhaps, and the dominance of the hegemony of USD will perhaps cross over to the control of the digital world. And that's my point. But and he actually said this, all right, the synopsis is this, that it can, or the prognosis is this, that whatever we build, it must be able to, and it can and be able to withstand regulation. Who would have thought of that? None the ICO, none of the white paper speak about this. We speak about the FDV, which is the fully diluted value, which is another story altogether, I understand. But he is so far ahead that with the FDV, that's why he has that foresight to argue with the management team and say, no, the liquidity must be enough. 1 billion coins, that's not enough liquidity for this market. The whole GDP in this way is 100 trillion a year. What is 1 billion in $100 trillion GDP for the whole world is nothing. So he has the foresight, hence the DVD issues. And of course, then probably if you have the liquidity, you have the velocity, it gives you then another crown in the head, another feather in your head, that you can be legal tender. I don't know. We're hoping we can be legal tender. And the last thing he said, and all this will confer longevity, meaning you have staying power. He has actually built a system that can confer longevity to what we have. That's what I meant by investing and not speculative, and it becoming a safe haven assets. Thanks, Billy.
Okay, let's watch the very last. The thing I want to, which impressed me most, has to do with Mount Score's mindset. Mount Score's mindset is never about undermining law and regulations. So because he always want to be in compliant with whatever law that is existing, that's why he never thought of coming up with a system that undermine what is the existing accepted framework. Unlike all the other cryptos, they just want to decentralize. We don't want control, and that's why they find ways and means to undercut, undermine, and stay above, and not want to stay above board. Now, the last video. Let's have the last video, please. Jesse, over to you.
Yeah, so in my naivety, right, I thought, hang on, if you're putting in all this KYC, then all the supposedly hot money and questionable money can't come in, and then therefore there's no upside to our coins or digital currency. I thought, why would someone do that? There must be another route for such money to flow through and drive the value. How short-sighted I was, right? And expose my ignorance, and the foresight that he has. Actually, I'm not flattering him, but it is true. It's facts. He actually knew the mega trend. And once the mega trend gets going, it might be slow initially, but surely it shall happen. It's like fax machine. 50 years, everybody fax machine. No more telex, or telex, yes. 3 years, smartphone. It took 3 years for 100% penetration of smartphones. See that? And what's going to happen now? We're just waiting for the exponential curve. So there wasn't any regulation. There wasn't any regulation in place, when HCN or HDO was launched, right? There was very strict KYC as a barrier of entry that we know now. He wanted to keep the nefarious funds out, all right? There's less upside, but there's longevity, and the upside will be linked to fundamentals, not, whims and fancies of the nefarious or, forces. So choosing to be choosing to be centralized, you know what? I got to take my hands off you. This is a stroke of genius, Mr. Mousecore. And I think you have put us on a good path where the longevity, the rights, we not only have the rights to issue, we have a payment processing system which can drive velocity. And we know value comes from velocity, one of the key points. What keeps the world goes around? All right. Some say love, some say no, it's money, some say it's commerce. I believe it is commerce. All right. And a stable coin that's not leverage. No leverage. The last few weeks have seen what it means by no leverage. So regardless of whether it's technical or legal issues, I do have to say Himalaya Exchange is really the forerunner in this. So read the white paper. We beseech you, read the white paper. And over to you, Bindi.
Okay, I think our time is up. As much as I want to chip in with my last 2 cents worth, but our time is up. Thank you so much for watching. And we'll be back next week at same time, same channel. So stay tuned. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
虚虚实实是几许，几里几破岁岁平。旁门左道雕虫记，明镜落空无人情。忽隐忽现飞空有， 扭转乾坤几系列。盘古已归来，智慧勇猛万神归。一剑封口，白云占有月光举中举细叠中叠，各中间线无渡劫。邪门外道只老虎，谁不信我顶上当？且让子弹慢慢飞，轻轻战友莫心急。共产邪恶无限量，灭它需要真信仰。全球灭共产，看我新联邦。到了革命90届，此次警告多艰难。若无问归提深处，暗无天日全球为。荒凉美梦总会醒，还我河山归人民。我佛慈悲已成恩，华夏人民享太平。黑白两归一，正道主义新联邦。运筹为我决，决胜千里无心